Hi, it's Beth at the Somerset County Library, and welcome to our personal enrichment series online. Tonight, we're going to be doing an applied digital skills workshop using Google for Education. With Earth Day coming up this Saturday, I came across this, what I think would be a really cool project to do. It uses Google Earth Engine. So we're going to be able to examine satellite imagery and data on a time lapse using Google Earth Engine. So let me here and I'll share my screen. And this is using our Google for Education classroom.
Studying how the world changes over time can help you understand what may be causing these changes. Changes can come about from natural factors like wind and earthquakes, or from human interaction, such as cutting down trees to build new structures. One way to study these types of changes is to look at images taken over time. You can do this using a tool like Google Earth Engine. Google Earth Engine uses satellite images. Satellites are objects that have been built to orbit the Earth. They take pictures of the water and land below. Then, scientists draw conclusions from the images to discover how the environments are changing. One way to understand how environments change is to look at time-lapse images. Time-lapse images are images taken at regular intervals and then combined. They help you see how an environment changes over months, years, or even decades. Google Earth Engine has many time-lapse images you can explore, like the construction of the Berlin-Brandenburg Airport. And the rise of urban growth in Las Vegas. In this lesson, you will choose a time-lapse topic in Google Earth Engine. Take screenshots of any changes and collect them in a document. Write a description of each screenshot and summarize your descriptions. This lesson uses Google Docs, but you could apply these skills and concepts in most other word processing applications. To work on this lesson, sign into your Google account. Open a new tab in your browser and navigate to google.com. If you are not signed in, do so now. If you do not have a Google account, pause the video and create one now. Next, open another tab in your browser and navigate to earthengine.google.com. Choose a time-lapse for your project. This lesson uses the Columbia Glacier Retreat time-lapse, but you can use any one you would like or one your teacher assigns. Now it's your turn. Sign into your Google account. In a new tab, navigate to earthengine.google.com and choose a time-lapse for your project.
Okay, so now it is our turn. So, get rid of my over there. We are going to earth.google.com, and when you get there, go to time lapse. Mine actually opened a time lapse in Google Earth. It has a way you can search the planet. or you can choose from any of the options that they have here. You can go to featured locations. It has several different categories here. It has agriculture, deforestation, glaciers, natural disasters, urban growth. So you can pick one of the ones that you want to look at. I'm going to try up Castleman River, as that goes through the town that I live in. And I thought it would be cool to see how the river has changed over the years. Let's go on to the next video and see what we're supposed to do next.
In this video, you will take a closer look at your time lapse to determine how the area is changing over time. It would be practically impossible for one person to sit and watch an environment change over years, decades, or even centuries. Time-lapse images are taken from a satellite and show the changes accurately over time. This helps people observe the environment and draw conclusions. This time-lapse shows the melting of Alaska's Columbia Glacier over the past few decades. First, let the time-lapse play through completely so you get a general idea of the changes that occurred each year. After it plays through once, pause the time-lapse on the earliest available year. Use the playback speed button to slow down the time-lapse and play it all the way through again. Notice if you observe any more changes by playing it at a slower speed. You can pause the time-lapse at any time and zoom in to see more detail. As you explore your time-lapse, start to think about what environmental changes you're seeing and what might be causing the changes. In this example, the time-lapse shows the Columbia Glacier retreating or melting. One of the reasons for this is climate change. In this case, the local climate has warmed up enough to make the glacier melt over time. Now it's your turn. Play the time-lapse all the way through. Slow the time-lapse down and pause and zoom in to see more detail.
So I can see different changes in the river. Let's see if I can zoom in. There's the Castleman there. And I noticed when looking through this, well, some of the early ones are really fuzzy. But you can see in the early years, the bypass wasn't there. You can see the community that's built up around close to the river there. Okay, so I went to earthengine.google.com time lapse, and you can see they have time lapses from around the world. And I was able to sort of like zoom out and move around, and I was able to pull up our area as well, so that's pretty cool. And maybe I'll do that a little bit at the end here. You can see and zoom in and zoom out. Time lapse goes from 1985, 1984. So we can back here to 1984. And this is where we can control our speed. So we can make it 1 times faster. It's currently on 0.5. But we can make it, the slowest one is 0.25. You can see it goes a little bit slower. And you can see how the glacier melts, and then it comes back and melts a little bit, comes back again. Okay, so let's go on to the next part of our presentation.
In this video, you will set up your document and record the latitude and longitude of your location. To begin, open Google Drive and create a new document. Rename it and title the document with the location of your images. Next, look for the latitude and longitude of the location in the Google Earth Engine search bar. These numbers describe the exact location of a place on Earth. Latitude is the distance north or south from the equator measured through 90 degrees. Latitude lines are imaginary lines that run from east to west on a globe. A location that has a positive latitude is above the equator, and one that has a negative latitude is below. The equator is always 0 degrees latitude. Press the Ctrl and C keys on your keyboard and copy your location's latitude from Google Earth Engine. Then, press Ctrl and V to paste it in your document. Some computers have a Command key instead of a Control key. Next, record the longitude. Longitude is the distance east or west from the prime meridian, measured through 180 degrees. Longitude lines are imaginary lines that run north to south on a globe. The location that has a positive longitude is east of the prime meridian, and one that has a negative longitude is west. The prime meridian is always 0 degrees longitude. Copy and paste your location's longitude in your document. Finally, center and format the text. Now, it's your turn. Create a new document and rename it. Title the document, record the latitude and longitude of the location, and format the text.
So we found that if we know what the longitude and latitude is, we can hit the search icon here. We can find out the longitude and latitude. So knowing that, if we know the longitude and latitude of a certain location, let's do Somerset. So if we put these numbers in, we should be able to plus 79. So I'm looking at this image, you can see how Somerset has changed over the years. Okay, so we need to start a new Google Docs. And he showed you how to access or create a new Google Docs going into your Google Drive and doing it that way, but you can also just scroll down and click on the Docs icon. Blank. And I have Somerset. And I can enter in my latitude and longitude. And I just highlight that and do Control C. That will copy. And then Control V will paste it into my document. And I can highlight that and I can make my font larger. And do the center align. Okay, so let's go on to the next part of the video.
In this video, you will take screenshots from at least 4 different years of your time lapse. Then you will copy and paste the screenshots into your document, crop each image, and add captions. Screenshots are pictures of what is currently on your screen. When you put screenshots into your document, you can communicate to an audience how something changed and include your own analysis with it. To begin, go back to Google Earth Engine and slow the time lapse down. Pause the time lapse at the earliest year available. If you accidentally go past the earliest year, use the arrow to go back. Close the information you don't need anymore. And zoom in so you can see more details. Take a screenshot of the photo using your computer screenshot tool. Then, copy and paste the screenshot into your document. Crop out anything you don't want in the image, like browser tabs and other time-lapse topics. Use the guides on each side of the image to make it larger. Then, add a caption to the bottom of each image with the year it was taken. Next, repeat the process for any 2 years in the middle. You may want to choose years where you can clearly see environmental changes. Finally, copy and paste a screenshot from the last year that is available. Now it's your turn. Take screenshots from at least 4 different years of your time lapse. Copy and paste the screenshots into your document, crop each image, and add a caption with the year each image was taken.
So I'm going to pause, and then I want to go back to 1984. Where were you in 1984? Okay, so maybe we want to zoom in if we can. It's not going to let me zoom in any further. I can zoom out a little. And depending on your computer, depending on what you can use to copy and paste, you may have to, on your computer keyboard, you might be able to try using the print screen button and see if you can. I have a double screen going on here, so I can't use my print screen, but for you at home, you might be able to just use your print screen button to copy the image. I have Windows 10 on my work computer, so let me use my snipping tool. Got my screen snip. Oops, hold on. Let me get onto the right screen. I can screen snip and highlight the section that I want to copy. And then go to my document. I'm going to do Control V, which is going to paste the image into my document. So if you click on your image, you can rotate it, make it bigger or smaller. You can format it so that the print can go beside, or your text can go beside your image. Or you can crop it if you need to. If you wanted to focus in just on that part of the image. You can make it smaller by dragging the corner handles there. Try to crop. And when I hit crop, these lines appeared here, so I can drag those to select the part of the image that I want to focus on. And then hit enter. And that cropped my image down to just that section of Somerset. Okay, and let me hit enter to get down below the picture. Somerset 1984. And we'll go to the next picture that I want to do. This is cool because you can go through year by year, see the small changes that have happened. Wonder which seasons these are being taken in as well. So it seems like maybe the crops were ready to be harvested, or this might be one where the crops were already harvested. Let us move on to the next video.
In this video, you will take a closer look at what is happening in each image and write a description of what you see. Then, you will summarize your descriptions so you can make conclusions about what might be causing the changes. This lesson shows the melting of the Columbia Glacier throughout several decades, but yours might show tree-covered areas being turned into cities, for example. Begin with the first image. Beneath the image's caption, write one sentence describing what you see. You don't need to list the possible causes for the changes yet, just your observations. Do the same thing for your next image. And all the rest. Describe how the images are changing for each year you selected. Now write a topic sentence that summarizes what all of your images are showing. Add at least one sentence that describes the changes you see from the first image to the last. Then, think about what might have caused the changes you observe. These causes can be factors like natural disasters like hurricanes, human interaction like cutting down trees, or climate change. Write a sentence that describes the possible causes for the changes you observe. Now it's your turn. Write a description of what you see in each image, and write at least 3 sentences to summarize your descriptions.
And let's see what we are to do next.
In this lesson, you learn that using Google Earth Engine satellite imagery and data can help you understand how an environment changes over time. Then, you learn that you can draw conclusions from this data to understand possible causes of the changes. Throughout this lesson, you explore the details of your time lapse, added a title and the latitude and longitude of your location to your document, paused the time lapse to take screenshots from various years, copied and pasted the screenshots into a document, added a caption under each image with the year it was taken, wrote a description under each image, and summarized your descriptions. As a result of this lesson, you also learned skills like drawing conclusions from data and cropping images. If you're especially interested in your topic and want to learn more about it, you can search for it online. You might even be able to see your location from different perspectives. For example, this link includes a video of the Columbia Glacier from up close rather than from a satellite. Also, feel free to check out any other time-lapse topics you wish on Google Earth Engine. There's a whole world out there waiting for you to explore.
Okay, so that was using Google Earth Engine time-lapse, and I'm just gonna make some modification or make some edits to my document. I want to make some of my text smaller, and I can change the alignment as well. So let me change my observations, the font on my observations to 16. Just highlight that text, double click 16, and 1. Okay, so I have all of my images on just 2 pages. Okay, so we learned a little bit about longitude and latitude. Longitude's going from north to south, and latitude's going from east to west. And about making some observations. I did want to show you another cool, I think this one's even more cool. You go to the Google icons or the Google apps and go to the Earth. And you can actually access the time lapse from somewhere in here. Yeah, so you can access time lapse in Google Earth through here as well. But let me go back here. This is really cool because it doesn't have the time lapse on it, but you can zoom in on a location. Let me see if I can find the library in Meyersdale. Okay, there's the diamond. Okay, there's the Meyersdale Library. And let me see, I'm just going to zoom in there. And this was actually taken before these trees were taken down. So they've taken down these trees and put in new light posts. You can go through town, check out the parking lot. Not a whole lot of parking. Let's see, this was probably taken before, yeah, this old hotel. Wait, no, that's the funeral home. This old hotel was taken down. So now they have parking here. This I thought was pretty cool. As you can see town and go through, you can change to a 3D version. I thought that was pretty cool. Just a little fun that you can have with Google Earth. And explore some of the other places too. It's a cool way to be able to actually see some other countries. So you can follow the meandering rivers in India. So you can actually see how they change course a little bit. That is cool. Okay, so anyhow, so I hope you take some time this Earth Day and do some exploring with Google Earth time lapse and see how things have changed over the years. It's pretty cool to see how things change. For whatever reason it might be, whether it's natural or man-made or whatever. And that is all for tonight. We'll see you next time. Good night.